Have you ever stood in the dark at 2 or 3 inches the morning, half awake in the bathroom, and thought, I just went an hour ago. Why am I back here again? Maybe your nights look like this. You fall asleep, finally get comfortable, and then the urge hits. You get up, shuffle to the toilet, a small, weak stream comes out. You go back to bed, just start to drift off, and then the urge comes back, over and over. By morning, you are exhausted. Your back or knees ache from getting in and out of bed, and you feel like you have not truly slept in years. If you are over 60 and have an enlarged prostate, this might sound very familiar. The prostate sits under the bladder and wraps around the urethra, the tube that carries urine out. When it grows larger with age, it can squeeze that tube and irritate the bladder. The result is the classic trouble so many older men quietly live with: going often, getting up at night, sometimes, many times, feeling like you cannot fully empty a weak stream, and that constant, I might need to go, feeling that never quite goes away. Most men do not like talking about it. You might joke about old man bladder, or shrug and say, that's just getting older. But inside you might be worried, embarrassed, frustrated, and tired. Very tired. Night after night of broken sleep is not just annoying. It affects your mood, your blood pressure, your heart, your memory, and your energy for the next day. Here is the part many men are never told clearly. Some of the things you do in the hours before bed can quietly make your prostate symptoms and nighttime bathroom trips much worse. Not because you are doing anything wrong on purpose, but because nobody ever explained how certain habits, drinks, medications, and routines affect the way your bladder and prostate behave at night. Maybe you have already noticed clues without fully connecting them. On nights when you drink certain things, you are up more. When you fall asleep in your chair and stumble to bed later, your night is worse. When you take a certain pill late, you seem to go more. When you go to bed without trying to empty fully, you are right back in the bathroom soon after. You might think it is all random, but often it is not. If you are in your 60 seconds, 70 seconds, or beyond, you might be asking yourself, are there bedtime habits that are quietly making my enlarged prostate symptoms worse? Is there anything I should stop doing at night so I am not up every hour? How can I work with my body instead of against it so I can finally get some deeper sleep? Those questions are not silly. They are wise. They mean you are not just accepting misery as your destiny. You are looking for ways to live with an enlarged prostate more comfortably, especially at night, when rest is so important. This video is not here to replace your doctor or tell you to stop any prescribed medication on your own. BPH, benign enlarged prostate, needs real medical guidance. What we are going to do is talk calmly about 4 bedtime habits that tend to make nighttime prostate symptoms worse, and that many older men have never been warned about. These are habits you may recognize in your own evenings, and in many cases, they can be adjusted without turning your whole life upside down. We will talk about certain things you drink in the evening that act like little alarms for your bladder all night, the way you crash into bed without preparing your bladder or your body first, how some common sleep helpers can actually make nighttime bathroom trips more dangerous or more frequent, and the risky habit of ignoring other warning signs because you are embarrassed, instead of talking with a doctor who can actually help. By the end of this video, you will have a clearer picture of what not to do with an enlarged prostate in the hours before bed, and some simple ideas you can discuss with your healthcare provider to make nights a bit calmer. You will not fix everything in one evening, but you can start to stack the odds in your favor instead of against you. And stay with me until the very end, because habit number 4 is one that many older men fall into out of pride and silence, and it can delay real help for years. Changing that one habit alone can protect not just your sleep, but your long-term bladder, kidney, and overall health. Now, let us get started. Number 1. Flooding your bladder with the wrong drinks in the last few hours before bed. With an enlarged prostate, what you drink and when you drink it matters a lot more than most men realize. If your usual evening looks like this, a big glass of water with dinner, a couple of cups of tea or coffee after, maybe a soda, a sports drink, or a beer or two while you watch TV, you are asking a tired, irritated bladder to handle a night shift it is not built for anymore. Caffeine in coffee, tea, many sodas, and even chocolate acts like a double punch. It can make your kidneys produce more urine, and it can irritate the bladder itself, so it feels fuller and more urgent sooner. Alcohol does something similar. It can make you pee more, and it relaxes the muscles that help keep urine in, which is not a great combination when you are trying to sleep. Fizzy drinks, very sweet beverages, citrus juices, and strong artificial sweeteners can also bother the sensitive lining of the bladder in some men, making that "I have to go now" feeling louder and more frequent. None of this means you can never enjoy your favorite drink again, but with an enlarged prostate, it does mean evenings are not the best time to pour most of your fluids and bladder irritants into your system. A calmer pattern is to get most of your fluids earlier in the day, then begin easing back in the last 3 or so hours before bed, within whatever limits your doctor has set for your heart and kidneys. In the evening, if you are thirsty, small sips of plain water are usually kinder than large mugs of coffee, tea, soda, or alcohol. And if you are on water pills, never change the timing on your own, but do talk with your doctor if you are taking them very late and up all night as a result. Sometimes they can safely adjust the schedule. Number 2, crashing into bed without giving your bladder and body a proper last call. Many older men with enlarged prostates fall into a pattern without noticing it. They use the bathroom sometime in the evening, then fall asleep in their chair watching TV, wake up groggy, shuffle to the bedroom and drop into bed without really emptying their bladder. Or they go once quickly, half distracted, then lie down immediately. Because an enlarged prostate can slow and weaken the flow, the bladder often does not empty completely, so you end up lying down with a half or 3/4 full tank. Gravity shifts, the kidneys keep working, and within an hour you are back up thinking, "But I just went." Your bladder will never be empty like it was at 20, but you can make things easier by building a simple pre-bed routine. About half an hour before you plan to lie down, give yourself time for what doctors sometimes call double voiding. Go to the bathroom, take your time, relax, do not rush the stream. Then finish getting ready for bed, brush your teeth, set out your clothes, and before you actually get into bed, go once more. Sometimes that short break lets the bladder muscles relax and then squeeze again, so you get a bit more out. It is not magic, but for many men, it can buy a longer first stretch of sleep. And if you tend to fall asleep in your chair, try to make it a rule that any time you wake up and head to the bedroom, you visit the toilet first with your attention fully on the job, not on getting back to your pillow as fast as possible. Over time, that small change can mean fewer "I just went" trips in the first part of the night. If you are still listening, comment the number 2 below so we know you are here. And if these conversations matter to you, consider subscribing so we can keep creating calm, practical videos for older men and their families. Now, let us move forward. Number 3, knocking yourself out with alcohol or strong sleep medicines, and then stumbling to the toilet half awake. When you are exhausted from nights of poor sleep, it is very tempting to reach for something that promises to finally knock you out. A couple of strong drinks, a prescription sleep pill, an over-the-counter PM medicine, or a mix of these can feel like the only way to escape the constant trips to the bathroom and the racing thoughts. The problem is that with an enlarged prostate, nighttime bathroom trips do not disappear just because you sedate yourself. The urge still comes. You are just slower, dizzier, and less steady when it does. Alcohol and many sleep medicines can drop your blood pressure when you stand up, blur your balance, and weaken your reflexes. In the dark, half awake, rushing to the toilet with a full bladder and a prostate that will not let you empty quickly. This is how many serious falls happen. A broken hip, a head injury, a night on the floor waiting to be found. These are not rare stories in older men who mix nocturia, alcohol, and sedatives. On top of that, some of these medicines can relax the bladder neck in ways that make it harder to start a stream or fully empty. So you may actually find yourself straining more or feeling blocked, not less. This does not mean no one with an enlarged prostate should ever be prescribed sleep medication. In some cases, under close supervision, a doctor may decide that a carefully chosen medicine is appropriate. But the key is that this decision should be made with your prostate and nighttime bathroom pattern in mind, not ignored. If you are currently drinking to sleep or taking multiple sedating pills at night without your doctor really understanding how often you get up to urinate, it is important to be honest with them. Ask whether there are safer options, whether any doses can be lowered, or whether some of the sedating drugs could be moved earlier in the day. Do not add extra nightcaps or pills on your own in hopes of sleeping through the urge to urinate. That is a habit that quietly raises your risk of falls and other complications. Number 4, pretending it is just age and ignoring warning signs instead of getting help. The last bedtime habit is not something you do in one evening. It is a pattern over months and years. Many older men know, deep down, that their urinary symptoms are getting worse. They are getting up more at night, they strain more, the stream is weaker, sometimes it stops and starts. They may see a little blood in the urine once and hope it goes away. They may feel burning, fever, or pain, but treat it with home remedies. They may have an episode where they suddenly cannot urinate at all for several hours, then finally manage to squeeze out a little and decide not to mention it. Out of embarrassment or fear of bad news, they tell themselves, "It's just my age, I'll live with it." And they never give their doctor the full picture. At bedtime, this shows up as a kind of resignation. You expect to be up every hour. You expect to strain. You expect accidents. You plan your nights around the toilet instead of asking whether more can be done. Meanwhile, untreated prostate issues can lead to repeated infections, bladder damage, stones, and even kidney problems. And although many enlarged prostates are benign, some urinary changes can overlap with signs of prostate cancer, which is far better dealt with when caught early. Breaking this habit means deciding that your comfort and long-term health matter more than your embarrassment. It means telling your doctor exactly how many times you get up at night, how the stream feels, whether you ever see blood, whether you ever feel completely blocked. It means asking whether your current medications are still right for you, whether any adjustments, pelvic floor work, bladder training, or further tests are needed. You do not have to suffer in silence and accept sleepless nights as your only option. Being honest and seeking timely help is one of the strongest, wisest bedtime choices you can make when you live with an enlarged prostate. Final thoughts. We have just taken a clear, honest look at 4 bedtime habits that can quietly make life with an enlarged prostate much harder than it needs to be. Pouring in the wrong drinks in the late evening, collapsing into bed without really giving your bladder a fair chance to empty, knocking yourself out with alcohol or strong sleep medicines, and then stumbling half awake to the toilet and pretending it is just age while you ignore urinary warning signs instead of getting real help. None of this is about blame. You did not choose to have an enlarged prostate, and most men were never given a simple explanation of how their nighttime choices affect their bladder, their sleep, and their safety. You did what most people do. You tried to cope. You made jokes. You got used to broken sleep. You told yourself it was normal to be up and down all night after 60, but normal and necessary are not always the same thing. If you heard yourself in these habits, take a breath and remember this. Noticing is not failure. Noticing is the first step toward changing the way your nights feel. You do not have to become perfect or give up everything you enjoy. You just have to tilt the odds in your favor a little more. That might mean shifting your bigger drinks earlier in the day and easing back on caffeine and alcohol in the last few hours before bed. It might mean building a small pre-bed routine where you give your bladder time to empty twice instead of rushing once and diving under the covers. It might mean being more cautious with anything that sedates you at night. and talking honestly with your doctor about what you are taking and how often you are getting up. Most importantly, it might mean dropping the habit of silence. Many men carry these symptoms alone for years, getting up 5 or 6 times a night, straining, worrying, maybe even having near blockages or seeing blood, and they never describe it fully to anyone. They may mention, "I go a lot," but they do not say, "I am up every hour and I feel like I never empty," or "I had a night where I could not pass urine at all." Doctors cannot help with what they do not know, and there are more options now than many men realize, from simple lifestyle shifts and medicines to other treatments that can improve flow and protect the bladder and kidneys. Ask yourself, as if you were talking to a friend instead of judging yourself, which of these bedtime patterns is costing me the most right now? Is it the late-night coffee or beer that keeps me running to the bathroom? Is it falling asleep in the chair and stumbling to bed with a half-full bladder? Is it using alcohol or pills to knock myself out and then risking falls on my nighttime trips? Or is it the quiet decision I have made to just live with this and never really ask for help? You do not have to fix all 4 at once. Choose one that feels realistic and start there. Maybe for the next week you experiment with cutting off caffeine and alcohol earlier and see whether your first stretch of sleep gets a little longer. Maybe you add a gentle double void before bed and notice whether that helps. Maybe you gather the courage to make an appointment and tell your doctor exactly what your nights are like without trying to make it sound better than it is. Even one of those steps is progress. Remember, your nights are not wasted hours. They are when your heart, brain, and body are meant to recover from the day. When an enlarged prostate keeps you marching to the bathroom over and over, your whole system pays the price. You deserve better than that if there is anything that can be done to ease it. In the comments below, if you feel comfortable, share which bedtime habit you think has been hurting your sleep the most. The late drinks, the rushed bathroom trips, the heavy use of nightcaps or pills, or the habit of keeping quiet about your symptoms, and one small change you are considering. Your honesty might give another man the nudge he needs to stop suffering in silence. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend, brother, father, or husband over 60 who is up and down all night and just jokes that it is old age. Your support helps us keep creating calm, practical senior wisdom, so older men can face these private struggles with more understanding and real options, instead of embarrassment and exhaustion. Thank you for watching. Treat your nighttime routine as part of your prostate care, not an afterthought. And remember, even with an enlarged prostate, small choices before bed can make a big difference in how you sleep and how you feel tomorrow.